Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Hello, everyone. This is Jacob Popio, the producer of Apex. In this episode, Jan, RJ, and I sit down and talk about anything and everything, just like old times. If you want to support us, there are 3 ways to do so. One is to donate to our cause at www.patreon.com/The Apex Podcast. Second, visit our merch line that is proudly partnered with Envision Clothing Company at envisionclothingcompany.com. The final one is completely free. All we ask is if you learn something from this episode or know someone that needs to hear our message, share it with them. Please subscribe and hope this pushes you toward your apex.
Welcome back to Sitting Around the Table, boys.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
And Theodore's here.
You know what? I
Theodore.
decided that after this little hiatus, I'm just not doing Apex intros anymore. I'm over that. We're just gonna go full. We're gonna go full Joe Rogan with it. Right into just talking about it.
We're here.
So what is going on, everybody that is listening currently? We actually have all 3 co-founders of Apex Communications Network in the same place at the same time, like back in the day.
Yeah, what is that picture? Did you send the picture in the group chat from our first one or my first one at Wall?
Back at the Wall Studio, yeah.
So that's almost what, a full 2 years.
3?
Yeah.
3 years?
Almost 3 years ago now.
It's 2018.
2018.
Christ, I'm
man.
an old man.
Yeah, dude, we've been bugging each other for 3 solid years.
I thought it was 2 years. Yeah, you're right.
2021, baby. Yeah. So for those of you that have
How
no
far
idea,
we've come.
for those of you that are listening to this for the first time and have no idea what we're talking about, today we're going to kind of talk about how we got started a little bit and kind of go back in time so that if you're new to the Apex podcast, you'll understand the context. And that's Jake, by the way.
These are going to be far
you'll get to
less
know-
serious than our
You'll get
old
to know
ones.
him a little
For anybody
bit better.
who's here from before, this is about to be.
Yeah, completely different ballgame.
Yeah, listen to this one and then listen to the first one.
The first one sounds like I'm.
My name is Jan Amasi.
Jake, why don't you introduce yourself first, and then we'll go around the table.
Yeah, who are you?
I'm Jake Popio.
What's your favorite color?
Green.
What did
What do you like to do on the weekends?
Oh, just chill.
Cook food. He made a vodka.
I did
cream
see that. That
Something
was
or
good.
another.
Yeah, it was real good.
How did you make that? 'Cause when he was explaining it to me this morning at Gervasi, it was awesome.
Oh, it's vodka tomato cream sauce. So what I did is I rendered some prosciutto on the bottom of the pan, and then I put a little bit of olive oil in there, and I kind of just browned the prosciutto. You don't want to burn it or anything. You just kind of want to render the fat out. You're trying to render all of that fat into the pan. Then once that's rendered out, you take some fresh chopped garlic, probably 4 or 5 cloves. Put that in there, and then a couple leaves of basil, and you kind of infuse the oils with that type of flavor profile of the garlic and the basil. And then once that starts to cook down, then you have to almost deglaze your pan with vodka, which is kind of weird because people are like, why would you put vodka in there? But it enhances the flavor profile of the tomatoes, and then it kind of lets the cream and the lipids and the fats and the cream kind of mix with the acid and the tomato sauce, so then it's very creamy and delicious.
You know what happens when I try to cook and be fancy like that? Pasta and sausage. You need diarrhea for 3 days.
I haven't had
sure,
any.
I'm pretty sure I just had pasta sauce running straight through me.
Oh my!
Ew.
So
I'll stick
RJ,
with
everybody meet RJ Holiday.
I'll stick with turkey, beans, and rice.
What's your favorite color?
That's purple, if we're being honest.
What type of purple?
Like royal purple.
Okay.
Because my lifting belt and my lifting shoes for leg day and back day
So-
are
Lift?
purple.
So
I hoist the weights.
is Barney the dinosaur the right type of purple, or is that too?
No, I think it's. I grew up in Jackson, and our colors are always purple and gold. And then everybody kind of asked, growing up, my favorite. Oh, that's red. Oh no, favorite color is blue. The go-to kid colors or whatever. But then the older I got, I was like, it's not something that I would like. I wouldn't go buy just a purple shirt. And be like, oh yeah, this is awesome or whatever. It doesn't. My colors are very much black, gray, and black.
You wear a lot of red though.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I have a fair amount of red stuff.
A lot of your tank tops are red.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to I have like article of clothing that I deem worthy of being like I have
Well,
dress
I mean, you're
shirts and
such a
polos,
like. And for those of you that have never met RJ Holiday before, this man is like 260 pounds of beefcake. So like
275
275. My apologies.
heavy.
And so finding clothes that actually fit him correctly is extremely difficult.
And that's
So
part of the
that
thing.
makes sense that like it's a specific article of clothing.
He doesn't even
Oh,
need
I love it.
clothes.
Well,
He
like-
has a built-in sweater.
When you go and find like tank tops and stuff, there's not like you go to Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever. If you look at any of workout stuff, very rarely are they in black and gray or white colors.
Right.
People are like, oh, I work in black and gray. I have casual, business casual stuff that's in more professional colors. When I go and work out, that's where I express myself.
Right.
So I go and buy tank tops and stuff like that. And yeah, you get red ones, blue ones, pink ones, bright colored ones, and everything like that. So that's fine. But most of the time, if I have to dress up for something, it's tan, black, gray, and white, and that's
Cargo
about
shorts
it.
and a button down.
Yeah, if I can find them. If I can find ones that'll fit my thighs.
What do you like to do on the weekends?
Sleep.
And I understand that.
No, the weekends, as of now, since we moved into our apartments and whatnot, Jenny, unfortunately, working retail, has to work a lot on the weekends. But that leaves time. Like, I'll go visit my parents or go and do stuff with them and Theodore, leave them to have time to hang out with him because he lived with the rest of my family for most of his life. So he loves going and see his baba and my sister and my dad and all that. And we usually in the summers we'll do cookouts and whatnot. Well, right now, basically, I go over every weekend to watch whatever episode of whatever Marvel shows on Disney Plus for that week. Or Saturday. Tomorrow's Saturday, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll go over there and watch the second episode of Loki. Quit howling, wild animal. You didn't take your medicine today, did you?
No.
Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't think so.
You know what's going to be beautiful is that
No.
this is all right, guys. So well, you guys can ask me the questions here in a second after I explain like what the purpose of these episodes are going to be. At this point. Like, you guys need insight into the hecticness that is owning.
We really
Stardom.
reeled it in for our other episodes.
Yeah, for all the other. So for those of you that are going to start at episode 1 and listen to my monochromatic, monotonal, like mortuary introduction, when I was like first behind a microphone. Hopefully, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, it'll give you inspiration. It's like, oh, if I start this and I go 60 plus episodes, then I'll get comfortable behind the mic, and you will get to the point where somebody's howling on the podcast.
Where is Theodore?
He's right there. Yeah.
I can't see through the dirty glass.
But so one of the reasons why we have not put out an episode since February 19th, just to explain that
Too
little
much
bit of that
work.
gap,
Too
Oh,
much work.
shenanigans, a lot of shenanigans, guys. So we like, just for context, we went into 2020. I was still in the military and a full-time ICU nurse. Jake was working construction.
2020.
2020.
This is end of 2019 we're talking about.
Yeah, and RJ was still working at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so none of us were anywhere near thinking that Apex was going to be a full-time thing, and we were still doing the podcast, the Ordinary People Extraordinary Things stuff, right? And then 2020 happens, and we end 2020 not only with us 3 being full-time on payroll, but with 2 employees, and now hiring a 3rd, and moving into like consulting with direct-to-consumer businesses and doing all this other stuff. So craziness. That's part of the reason why we haven't put out an episode since February. And then the other reason is because like I realized that I was just like didn't have a whole lot to talk about. Like, I was trying to talk about business stuff and like all this. I don't really like some of the stuff that we've talked about in some of the podcasts. I'm not going to delete them because they need to be there, but some of the stuff is just it was a facade. Like straight up. It's just not something that I was super interested in. It's something that I thought other people would be interested in. So now we're just
We
gonna
don't
get
care
back.
what you're interested in.
You're gonna get us just full bore, like who we actually are. Because I
Unadulterated.
think that like
Jacob Popio on the mic howling.
like I think what people really need to see is like how cool of a dynamic we have here, and like what actually happens behind the doors of a startup.
It's funny how excited Theodore gets when I howl. He wags his tail and he looks up at me.
Yeah, he's like,
Very triggerable. Want to go see mommy? Mommy? Oh yeah,
Oh.
here he comes.
Kid's all excited.
What you
tail
doing, buddy?
wagging.
You be a good boy.
Want to go on
Waltz. I said waltz. Do you want to dance? Come here.
We need to make attach a picture of Theodore to this episode.
Yeah. What do you have to say to the mic, Theodore? Sneezing on it. All right. What's your favorite color? Blue brown. I
Probably. I'm actually
black or gray.
that's not a color, that's a shade. So
Probably
try again.
We're gonna, okay, if that's excluded, then I'm probably like one of the stereotypical childhood colors, and I like a baby blue.
There you go.
What
He
do
was
you
trying
like
to be
do?
dark and mysterious.
Oh.
Oh, I like dark gray. Reminds me of the rainy days.
the raindrops dripping down the window up here.
What do you like to do on the weekends besides work?
I
So oats?
I enjoy going down
Sell goat
and
soap.
hanging out with my dad. Honestly, like the last weekend we went to the driving range.
Nice.
Absolutely murdered me as like a 60-something-year-old man. I just don't know how to golf.
If you're a
Um,
businessman in the last like 50 years, you had to know how to at least play golf a little bit.
Oh, my dad killed me.
Thank God I don't have to do that because I am pissed terrible.
If you don't chew Big Red,
Fuck you.
And then I actually enjoy eating Jake's cooking. If I get the chance. Yeah, like he had my family over for Sunday gravy the one night, and my family didn't stop talking about it for a week.
I'll make us pasta for lunch.
That's what we should have a podcast of pasta.
Ooh.
His Sunday gravy is phenomenal. Like,
You make
if ever get
gravy
the
every
chance-
Sunday?
Not every Sunday, I should, but
You only make gravy. So not every Sunday, but you only make gravy when it's Sunday.
yes.
And then, honestly, dude, like I'd have to acknowledge the sleep. Just like Monday through Friday. For those of you that are not in the startup world, if you've ever been involved with like a business that has no structure, you're trying to figure out the structure along the way. It is like
24/7.
sometimes 14, 16-hour days during the week. So like you crawl into Friday. And the thing is that half the time I don't know what day it is. I went the entire day yesterday thinking it was Tuesday or Wednesday.
I can't sleep that long on nice weekends, though, in the summer. I have to get up and do something, or I
Sleep
wasted the
anywhere at any
Saturday.
time.
Well, I feel like I've gone down to my parents' house and like just laid a towel out and just passed out. So like if I'll be outside and like getting sun, but I'll still just be like, do not disturb.
I tell you about when me and Jenny went paddleboarding a couple weeks ago.
No.
So we went paddleboarding in Portage Lakes,
Mm-hmm.
and this was the week after I was supposed to get that sleep study or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the makeup for that is next Tuesday, the 22nd. So I'll be hooked up to a plethora of machines trying to sleep at a strange hospital. But we went to the lake, and there's an area where in Portage Lake that they let boats come in and dock, and a lot of people fish there. But there's an area where there's a whole bunch of down trees. So last year we went and did this, but we took the two paddle boards out there, kind of hooked them together, and then hooked the boards to one of the branches on the down trees, so we could just kind of sit there and not float away or whatever. So we're both laying on the paddleboard, and Jane's like, "Oh, why don't you take your hat and put it over your face?" So I put it over my face. I shit you not. The next thing I realize is I hear like the boards like slapping against each other and like the water going. So I sit up, and Jenny's just like, I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she's looking at me, and she goes, "What am I doing?" She goes, "How was your nap?" I fell asleep for a half hour on my back on a paddleboard in the middle of the lake and had absolutely no clue that it had happened. She's like, "You're out there snoring." I was like, "Really?" I go, "I could have sworn I just put my hat over my face." And she goes, "No, you've been laying there out cold for like a half hour. Perfectly still, like a vampire on a paddleboard. One little
Like a vampire on the paddle.
Yeah, one little twist, and I would have been in the water. But I was completely still floating in the middle of the lake. I was like, "Yeah, I probably have a problem."
That's terrible. We all should
was
go.
relaxing, though.
We should get GoPros and we should go whitewater rafting, all of us, as a team.
This Sunday, I'm supposed to go canoeing with Jenny and her friends, and I'm afraid my legs won't even fit in the. Pardon me.
Oh, you'd fit in the whitewater raft, though.
Are those the big ones?
Yeah.
It's just like big, and then they have handles, and they say hold on for dear sweet Lord, and then they shove you down a mountain.
Well, if you fall out, put your feet down stream, because if it's going up, you'll smash your head and everything.
Oh.
And then you have to keep your hands on your sides. If not, your hands get caught in the rocks, and it will rip your hand off and stuff.
I don't want to do that.
I want to see RJ do it.
No, I want to see RJ in the raft,
Yeah.
not in the
Yeah,
river
not in
trying
the
to
water.
keep
Christ.
his hands from getting ripped off. I've been whitewater rafting one time, and it was probably one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life.
I've done it 2 or 3 times.
Where at?
Like for whatever reason, I would rather jump out of a plane than go whitewater rafting.
It's fun.
Like water is like amazing, but at the same time, water is what I definitely would go. I would definitely go again. But the adrenaline rush from whitewater rafting is even completely different than skydiving. Because like I just have like a way harsher fundamental fear of drowning than I do of splatting against the earth.
Oh, well, once you're dead, you don't have to worry about it. So it's okay.
No worries after that.
Well, yeah, I think it's really fun. We went to New River, and that's in like Virginia or West Virginia, kind of.
Yeah. Don't they have like a really big bridge there?
Mm-hmm.
A bridge over like a super deep valley or something?
Yeah, it's sweet. It's amazing. And then we went to Ohio Pile, and that's in Pennsylvania, I think. It's pretty fun. That one is a little more mild.
Heights and I don't like
If you're listening to
very
this
low
and
depth.
you want to see the Apex team in a whitewater raft, send us a message. And if enough of you send us, a
Bruh,
message,
it is so much fun.
go do it.
I like roller coaster. Is it
For
like a roller coaster in
Kind
the
of
water?
Basically,
It's basically the tour guide or whatever. The raft guide really keeps you more or less safe. We were like 14 years old doing it. You know, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's awesome because like I think a part of the New River Venture thing that they like take you off to the side, and then you can climb up this like 30 or 40 foot like boulder, and you can jump off into the river because the river is super deep there.
oh, that's sweet.
It's amazing.
RJ would be one dense cannonball.
Oh,
I hate heights.
RJ
hate
has to do it.
When I was down in Tennessee for Sergeant Academy, there's this place down there called the Quarry in Knoxville, and you like it's kind of the same thing. There's this one cliff that like there's a sign that blatantly says like jump off at your own risk, like multiple people.
Oh,
They've
I want
taken-
no part of
And
that.
so there's a video. I'll have to try to find it. If I can find it, I'll post it. But there's a video of me somewhere in like an American flag speedo jumping off of this mountain into the quarry.
One of the dumbest things I've ever done is I took a food time, like one of those off-brand food things. I took a can of corn and I put it into a bonfire. Blew up everywhere. Corn like rained on
Shrapnel.
us.
Really?
So,
It's like shrapnel from a
well, we were lucky that the can didn't like explode. It was just the top exploded and all the corn went everywhere. We were like kind of burnt from all of like the corn
Kinda, like,
kernels hitting us.
out.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Could you? Boom!
It sounded like a shotgun shot. It was like boom.
Really?
Can
Corn?
everywhere.
Or just falling from the sky. Chicken Little's running around. The sky is falling.
I've never done anything like that. I've always talked other people into doing stupid stuff.
I could
on-
see.
on
I
my
could. You're like
behalf.
my brother.
So me and my dad built a potato gun. Huge fucking potato gun.
Like the one, like the hairspray ones back in the
Oh
day.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he was putting brake cleaner
What?
in. Not hairspray, but like actual brake cleaner.
Jeez, that's a
Dude,
step up.
and like we shaved the ends of the PVC pipe so it just literally just shaved potatoes into the perfect like shape for it.
Yeah, yeah.
I had my buddy roll out and like run out in the field behind her house. I sniped him in the back of the neck with the potato.
Oh my
It hurt.
God.
It left such a
Bro,
huge
you could have fractured his
bruise.
C-spine.
Yeah, it
Like my
was-
inner ICU nurse is
dude,
like, no.
That thing fucking. We got the real lighter. The thing was, especially at night, you could see the whole tube light. Boom!
Oh
It just
my God.
clocked him right in the back of the neck.
Do you still have that?
Oh yeah, it's up. It's in my garage at my
Dude.
dad's house. We never got rid of it.
All right.
Can we play
Yeah,
with it?
let's go down to the farm and just
Yeah,
scoop
I'll
potatoes.
bring it up. Yeah, I wanted to make a bigger one.
Dude,
and start,
this is the type of content that Sam needs to record. Like if we're gonna do YouTube, this
Yeah.
is the type of
Because
content.
I figured like there's bigger vegetables that are probably would do better in like a bigger PVC pipe one.
Hey,
But at the very least, I wanted to either make the tank on it bigger so I could put more hairspray or pretty cleaner in it, or find something more flammable than more explosive.
dude, I had a buddy of mine try to put ether in it.
Well, I was wondering,
Like
I wondered if you-
engine primer, like
Yeah.
super like jet fuel in a can, basically.
Well, I wondered if
Blew
you
out
could
the
just,
back end
like,
of the PVC.
put gasoline in like a spritz thing and just
Not made out of PVC. Maybe make some shit out of steel, and then attach a PVC pipe as the
Boom.
like barrel. But I ain't putting no gasoline in. Well, hey, if you're listening to this and you've made badass potato guns, send us an email.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Jan looks like Jan Jan at chasetheapex.com.
yeah. So we still have that. Me and my dad used to do. We used to have like he'd get fireworks from his buddies, and we'd have like M80s, a quarter stick of dynamite, and blow shit up in the field. The only other thing I guess I'd say that I did was really dumb that I actually got hurt from, and it wasn't even that bad.
Oh, story time.
Was me and my dad one summer made a skimboard, like out of plywood, sealed it, everything. Because every one that we saw on vacation was like $400 or $500. I was like, I don't even know if I like it or can do it. Why do I want to spend that type of money on a skimboard to go to the beach? So we made this thing, and it worked great when we went on vacation. It had like grit, like we bought grip tape for a skateboard and put it on top of
Oh, that's
whatever.
cool. Yeah.
So basically, I had a buddy in high school that came over in the middle of winter when we were in high school, and in winter the
Snowfall.
the snow came down, but it rained, and the top 2 inches of the snow in the field were ice that we could walk on.
Oh yeah.
And
Anybody
I was
that's
like, and it
lived in like
wasn't-
the Midwest knows the difference between like for people that
it was a foot like of snow.
it's
too.
crazy. Yeah, because I know that we have listeners in like Colorado and stuff like that. So like people that are in Colorado, your snow fluffy, right? Like a lot of
Rock
like
solid here.
over here in the state of Ohio, we
Yeah.
get this beautiful mixture because Ohio's so ADHD that
Mhm.
it'll be like snow, rain, sleet, freeze, snow,
Yeah.
rain, sleet, freeze. And you end up with this like literally like a skating rink on top of the snowfall.
So
Yeah.
we took my skimboard. Obviously, you have nothing to hang onto it or whatever, and we went to the top of the hill that's in the field behind my parents' house and slid down it. But the problem was is we didn't break through the ice, so we slid down the entire thing, and it started taking chunks of skin out. The ice was like sandpaper.
Oh,
I remember my buddy turned to his
God.
back, and it shredded his entire back. Both of my forearms were completely like. You would have thought that we were like on a bike and we
Road
fell,
rash,
yeah,
yeah.
road rash. But the ice did not break. We didn't like get stuck in the snow. We slid the entire length of both of my palms were completely diced from it. Oh yeah.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
I was like, it's snow. What's the worst can happen? No, it was just a sheet of sandpaper like ice on top of that, and it skinned us both alive.
So in that vein, I growing up down in Kansas South, we used to attach sleds to the back of pickup trucks and go out into the field. Right. It started with 4-wheelers, and then we all got licenses. And then
Step it up.
we got so I had a 5.7. I think it was a 5.7. Yeah, 5.7 V8 F-150. It was like a 1999. And me and my buddy Will, and I'm like, I was best man in this dude's wedding. That's how like good of friends we were in high school. His dad was a welder, right? And we got this old car, and we took a car hood, and we bent up the corners and put like
Made it
safety
into a
foam on the
sled.
side, and then we took handles and tack welded them to it, and then we flipped it over, and we used surf wax to wax it, right? So you take that bad boy out into a field attached to a V8 engine, you get whipping. I
Yeah.
mean, so
It reminds me of that Christmas Vacation where he used his company's grease on the body. Just
yeah.
boom.
And so I'm behind this truck, right? And so I had been whipping Will around, and he fell off, right?
That sounds wrong.
Whip and
And-
Will.
And he gets into the truck, and he's kind of vindictive now because I've made him fall off of
Yeah.
the sled.
He chose violence.
He chose violence. Yeah, so he like is just squealing up this hill. And if you've ever been in like the field down at the farm, like you go up this angle and there's a fence line up against the back part of the property, right? So he whips it, and the rope that I'm attached to is probably like 20, 30 foot long, right? So he's whipping me. I pick up so much speed that I'm getting air around this turn, right? I probably spend a solid 3 or 4 seconds not on the ground, right? And I'm like trying to keep it stable because it's doing this. Corner touches, and I'm just
barrel roll.
I crack my head off of a tree. I like land on the other side of the fence line, and like I don't remember anything for like a short period of time. Definitely, probably got a concussion. I should have gone to the hospital after that one, but I didn't. I wondered how many brain cells I lost on that potential concussion. All of the undiagnosed concussions from like being a small male child are just like I wonder how many of us have had like at least 3 concussions in our lifetime. But he comes over and all he does is he like kicks me in the ribs. He's like, "Hey, you alive?" I'm like, yeah. I think I just like crawled into the house and I like slept the rest of the day. But
That's the thing they tell you not to do after a headache. Don't go to
I know.
sleep.
I know. I was just like, I'm not gonna tell my parents that I almost died because they'll never let us come back and sleep on the car hood again. So I'm gonna just go.
There's a lot
I'm
of,
just gonna go inside and like eat some food and pretend I'm not nauseous and go to sleep.
There's a lot of stuff that I never told my parents was going to be.
We should have a podcast segment that's literally just like stuff you never told your parents.
Well, they all know now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but as a kid, there's those things where you like think you have to hide them.
So I have
There's like a section of our audience that's for sure like
I have
teenagers.
2 very long scars across the second knuckle of both my index finger and my middle finger on my left hand. Yeah. That goes like basically right over the top of them. And the same buddy that we both got skinned alive on the ice slope.
Is he the same one you shot in the back of the head of the potato?
That is a different one.
Okay, I was gonna say I feel bad for this buddy at this
So
point.
the one that got skinned in the story I'm about to tell, his name was Spencer Sheets, and the guy that I shot in the back, his name is Patrick Georgevsky.
Related to Sarah Sheets?
No.
Do they own gas stations?
But we were over at his house, at Spencer's house. We were trying to blow stuff up or whatever for whatever reason. But we didn't want to
Thermite.
We didn't want to get close enough. So
Right.
the guy's like, he's like, "Oh, I found this big stick, and I don't know if it was gasoline or lighter fluid or what, but we were trying to blow something up." And he's like, "I just need something to hold on to this match, like from a distance, so I can like light it from a distance." So me just being stupid for whatever reason, I'm holding the stick between my thumb, my middle finger, and my index finger, like if you're holding a pencil and like touching your nose with it or whatever. And I look at a hatchet, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll just split the twig or the end of the branch long ways, and then where you can pinch the match in it."
Right.
I go to do it, and he's like, "You gotta be careful, it's sharp." And I'm like, "It's not that sharp." I go down through the branch, through my first knuckle, and through the second knuckle of my left hand. Me and him are both sitting there looking at it. It is split open, and I see white. There's white, so I'm pretty sure I hit the tendons in the top of my finger. And then all of a sudden, the blood just goes, and with my heartbeat,
Oh, you hit
and
it
I'm like,
harder then.
I snap my fingers back up and hold them like together.
Oh
And
my God, RJ.
his parents aren't home. We're young too, like we can't drive.
Yeah, I'm like,
or
how
anything.
old?
We're
I mean, you're blowing stuff up in the
it might have been-
backyard. So
it
like
might have been
10,
middle
12.
school. It might have been middle school.
You say that's the stage that most
I definitely-
males go through pyromania.
I definitely wasn't. I wasn't driving or anything like that. He was younger than me, so he wasn't. So we run into the bathroom, and he's like, "Dude, that's big." Like, I'm like, no. I was like, I go, after all the other shit that we've gotten into, I was like, we can't tell your parents, and I can't tell my parents.
You almost cut off your fingers.
Yeah.
What was your plan on hiding it?
Okay, so I end up. There's no bandages bigger for it, so I wrap it in toilet paper and duct tape. I mean, granted, I was smart enough that
Oh,
I didn't look at it, but I bent my fingers back down and opened it back up so that I could like
out at least.
wash it off and then put hydrogen peroxide, which hurt like a motherfucker. And then I basically I splinted my two fingers together and taped them with legitimately toilet paper and duct tape. And when I went home later that day, I lied to my parents and told them that we were pulling branches like out from a pile, and a branch just sliced the tops of my fingers, and it was a little scratch or whatever. I did not go to the hospital. I did not get stitches or anything. 2 weeks, I was terrified. I didn't take the bandages off my fingers for like 2 weeks.
Oh my God!
And
Were they black?
No, my fingers were fine. It healed. I probably did take them off to like clean them.
Okay,
and
I
make
was gonna say
no, but
no.
the thing was, is I never bent my fingers in 2 weeks because I was like, as soon as I do that, it's gonna split back open. So I panicked. I literally was just pointing for 2-3 weeks, my middle finger and my index finger straight out. And eventually, after I knew that it had healed, I went to go bend my fingers, and I realized that they didn't go past a C shape. I had sliced through the tendons, and they had reattached or partially. It took 3 years to get full range of motion on my own, where I could bend my fingers all the way. Yes, because they healed completely.
Oh my
completely
God.
straight. I was terrified that, and luckily it wasn't on my right hand because those are the two that you hold for baseball and whatnot.
Right.
But I was for the longest time, I remember would be like sitting in the car or sitting in my room watching TV. And I would come on, go all the way down, like and
Struggling.
Yeah, so I think after I graduated high school or college, I finally told them like I probably very much should have went to the hospital and got stitches. It was deep. If you see them, if I hold my fingers like this, the scar lines up between both fingers where you can see I just went. So it's this line right there, and then it goes right there. So it's split through both of my fingers down to the bone.
I almost cut my
And
leg
I
off with a
never-
chainsaw.
Well, so I'm telling this story, and I'm looking, and I'm like, if I lost every finger that I did damage to right now, I would be down to 6. Because the other one too, my ring finger on my right hand. This is just dumb on my part. Well, they're both dumb on my part. My aunt's doctor's office that I used to work at, they had the big fluorescent light bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad came over and helped me take them all out, and we were taking them out to the dumpster. He's like, "Yeah, you throw them in there because they explode, because they're like vacuum sealed in there and whatnot. Then when you throw them, they just explode into powder and glass. So there's like 15 of them, and I make it through 14 of them. I shit you not, on the very last one, I go to throw it like a spear, but but what had happened was I was too close to the dumpster. I nicked the end of the dumpster with the end of it. And instead of just letting go of it, I panicked, tried to throw it out of my hand. The glass broke in my hand. So I ended up sliding my hand down the barrel of it through the glass.
Oh my!
And it completely mangled the fatty
I'm
part.
just like,
Yeah.
just visualizing you like
Oh.
eviscerating your
I
hand
panicked.
on
As soon as
multiple
I hit it, I was like,
times.
oh no, I got to get it out of my hand. And
Shink.
the end of it got caught
Oh.
on the end of the dumpster. So my hand slid down it, and the glass went completely through my
And
finger. And it wasn't
Your
a
dad
clean
was
clunk.
standing there.
Oh yeah, he was.
What was
watching. He goes,
was
"What the
his
fuck?"
reaction?
I was like, we gotta go to the hospital. So we ended up going to the hospital or stat care or whatever, and because it was just like a jagged piece of glass, it completely mangled the meat on the underside of my finger.
Oh my!
And they were able to kind of roughly put it back. And
Yeah.
I ended up getting, I think, 6 or 7 stitches, but they had to use 4 bottles of saline on it because of the fluorescent light bulb glass
to
or
get
whatever.
all
It
the
turns
stuff
into
out,
little
yeah.
flakes. 2 months after it had healed, a piece of glass worked its way out of my skin.
It's amazing how your body does that.
It
Yeah.
rejected it, but yeah. So, and then, I've had other issues. I would be down to 6 fingers.
All right. All right, Jake. Almost died. Story time. What's the time that you accidentally jacked yourself up? Like, this This will be our wrap up.
I'm not sure, honestly. I never really did too many dumb things. I've watched
A lot of other people.
A
Are you the one that convinced other people like me and RJ to do the dumb shit?
yes, like my buddy Andy and I, we climbed up like probably 40, 50 feet in these pine trees. I was like, you know what? They're very springy up here. He was like, yeah, you're right. So he starts jumping on the branch. The branch broke and he fell down all the branches. He
Oh
was
my
like-
God.
He blacked out on the ground.
Oh my God.
That's so. I have a lot of good stories.
We should just
like that.
so everybody that's listening right now, if you like the way that this episode is structured, if you want us to just continue story times for the next couple of weeks, just send it in. I would have a blast with this. We just have like story times about being kids and
I've got
doing
great
dumb stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of boring, honestly. I once jumped up and grabbed the garage door. We have like a back garage door for like the tractor and stuff to come out of. And I grabbed it, and my hand went in between like the panels of the garage door, and it came down and it crushed all the tips of my fingers.
Dude, that qualifies. That counts.
That really fucking hurt.
Also, I'm pretty sure that either Jake's gonna have to go through and add in a lot of dolphin noises, or we're just gonna accept the fact that we all fucking cuss at this point.
We're explicit on Apple.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck it. Yeah.
If you
Sorry.
don't chew Big Red, then
Fuck you.
All right,
I got a ton of stories I can tell you guys. But if this episode's going to be the how did you almost die or lose a finger one, okay, this is the last story that
well,
we
because think of the people that we could have on and be like, all right, what kind of dumb shit did you do as a kid?
Yeah, no, it's true. My last story in the vein of these types of stories is there was me.
You
and
cut
our-
through a lot of veins.
Yeah, that was a lot. I've never seen so much blood.
Did you guys shoot each other with BB guns when you were kids?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You and your
No,
friends?
my parents never gave us like airsoft guns or BB guns or whatever. I had one of those like you cock it a whole bunch of times,
Like a pellet gun?
Yeah, and I shot a cardinal one time, and they were like, "Oh, that's a state bird. You can't do that." I was like,
My-
"Oh!"
My dad shot a robin. This is crazy as hell. So I'm pretty like I can't remember if it was my dad or one of his brothers, but they shot a robin when they were kids with a BB gun. My grandpa made him clean it and eat it because he was like, "You don't shoot things you don't intend to eat." And so
Oh,
they
no,
like
we kicked
shot
that
this
underneath
bird.
some lady's porch.
They
and took
shot
off.
this bird.
We're like,
And he made it. That's how old school my grandpa was. It's like, nah, like if you're gonna point and shoot
Yeah.
something, you're gonna eat it. And I'm like, all right,
No,
wow, that's
So this is probably
Funny
the last. This is the last story in the "you almost died" segment. But I had a buddy in high school whose dad owned custom golf cart company from around here, and basically he could soup them up, whatever you really, deck them out with like cool wheels and trim and colors and all that kind of stuff. But so we learned a little bit about how the golf carts work, and there was one that he had that he would drive around his neighborhood that it always topped out at like 20 miles an hour or something like that. It had a regulator on it. Well, we learned that if you couldn't even push the thing to go faster. Like it like fought back against you from going if the engine was on and the electronics were on, it actively fight against you, because it's not like you could let go of the pedal and coast down a hill to go faster than 20 miles an hour. Whatever is in there put drag on the engine so that it would stop. So we learned, well, if the engine's on, it does that, but it doesn't if it's off. So there was a big hill in this guy's neighborhood, and we fucking floored it. 3 of us in this thing. And as soon as we hit the top of the hill, we cut the engine off. So it was already going 20. And so the thing just rockets down this hill. And the whole goal was there's a giant gravel pit at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
We're going to fucking throw the emergency brake on and try to drift the thing. So it's flying, and we are going like way faster than any of the go-karts or the golf carts that he had. We get to it, and it's got like the corner of the brake is the locking mechanism for
Yeah.
the parking brake or whatever. Hits it, and I just yank it to the left, and the thing does it. It fucking does it. It drifts around, but then as we're getting to the other side, like to do a full circle, mind you, it's a 2-seater one, so it's just me, my buddy to the right of me, and then our other friend whose dad owns the golf cart and whatnot. He's small. He sat in the bucket, the bucket in the back. So I'm whipping it as we're going. I start to notice that the whole thing is tipping to the right. And our buddy in the back is like, if this tips over, it's just going to crush me. So while this thing is drifting off to the left-hand side, my buddy who's standing next to me gets out of it on the move, grabs the roof, because it had like one of the canopy tops to the golf carts, and plants his foot in the ground and skids and holds it up while we're drifting at like 40 miles. He's like this. He's like holding it, getting pushed across the gravel thing. We ended up being able to stop it, and the kid in the back was like crying. My buddy to the right was like, I can't believe I just did that. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, well, one time we were doing donuts in a field and a gator, and we were pulling the handbrake, and we were doing donuts and going backwards, We hit a dirt pile, and it made us roll the gator. That was scary. Because I almost stuck my arm out just naturally, just to like,
Hold yourself up.
Hold yourself up.
Taking it off.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
Never mind. I'll take it back. See, you have stuff that qualifies. There's no way that with like how squirrely he can get at times that he has not gotten himself into some predicament.
I never really got hurt though.
Well, we could talk about how you almost got jacked up.
What could have been?
All right, guys. Well,
That was
appreciate
fun.
you guys taking time to come out and hang out. We're going to be doing this way more often. Hopefully, you guys like this little bit of a different episode structure. If you want to subscribe, go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeartRadio. Eventually, we're going to get the money to get cameras, but we don't have the money to do that right now. So if you feel like donating cameras to us, I wouldn't be too upset. But we're going to try to get this on YouTube eventually if you guys really like it that much. And I'll talk to you next time.
See you guys.
Have a good day.
Yep.
Jake, have a good weekend.
Bye.
Everybody have a good weekend. Theodore,
Nap time.
bye, buddy. All right, peace.